Finally came the weekend of study. Already tired. That day I planned to ride a bike in the park. The only thing I really don't like is lowering and raising the bike to the 5th floor. It's very difficult to go downstairs. I was surprised. For the first time the bike seemed weightless. The walk was amazing. Warm sunny weather, light breeze before. I was driving a large man. I was amused that the route we had coincided for a long distance. It was clear that it is uncomfortable that someone is constantly driving behind. Not that he was afraid, but rather wanted to give way but overtake him. I did not want to. After a while I began to like to follow this man chasing him. For some reason, I became very pleased with the thought that his life in my hands began to come a lot of thoughts into head on how I can take his life. I felt powerful, looked at him like a toy. Yes, so, on the other hand, it certainly looks funny. A girl of 15 years old goes for a healthy tall man and imagines how it will be with him. To crack down on some kind of comedy, but despite this absurdity, I still wanted to pursue this man. After a while he turned into a back street. I understood that it was dangerous to follow a man through the back streets, but I couldn't stop. After time even began to doubt that I could find my way back. Suddenly a man stopped at the entrance of one of the houses and turned his head at me. In a normal situation, I would immediately turn away, but imagining myself as a pursuer, I thought, can the predator turn away from his victim and continue to look at him? His look was very surprised, even a little alarmed. Then he again turned to the entrance and went in there, and I began to look for the way home. Surprisingly, I found the way home quickly, but that man did not get out of his head. I wonder if he was scared of me. Maybe he thought that his daughter was from their relationship. It made me laugh. Let her be nervous and I will go home in a good mood when I come home. I was surprised that there was no fatigue at all despite the huge distance that I usually traveled half as much and I don't have any strength left for the rest of the day. I was in such a good mood that I just shown I don't even remember when it was. Such an amazing mood, but after a couple of days, the mood began to weaken again, and a week later, apathy began. My parents stopped pleasing me. They were very worried about me. They even bought me a new phone and a bunch of sweets, but my mood is not rose even for a moment. Sitting at the school desk, I felt good again, as various insidious thoughts began to climb into my head. A classmate was sitting in front of me. This goat was blocking the board for me. It pissed me off that he generally allows himself to teach him a lesson. When the bell rang for recess, everyone left the class at this idiot. I noticed sharp buttons on the table. It immediately became obvious to me what to do. I put most of the teacher on the chair. I threw one button next to the desk of that idiot and returned the pack to him on the table. The mood immediately became amazing, but how can I take him away from me? Suspicions. I was left alone in the class and everyone might think I should definitely have to sleep on the desk and pretend. I feel bad when everyone comes into the classroom and sees that I'm sleeping, but despite the noise I won't raise my head until the teacher makes comments. And it turned out everyone went into the class and then the teacher, Andreeva, enough sleep. Excuse me, Irina Nikolaevna. My head hurts a lot. Maybe you should go to the doctor. No thanks, miss, so you can't endure a headache. Go to the doctor and don't argue. Your mood immediately fell out of the door. Went to the doctor, decided to stand and eavesdrop. I should hear these screams in a minute. The mood immediately rose. When horns began to be heard from the class, they did it in response. There was silence. I could hardly contain a fit of laughter when I introduced how many colored buttons dug into her ass just like a rainbow. Oh, such a rainbow. I would take a picture. Sorry, I can't. Then the tormentor began to build, probably pulling out my creation. I felt offended by this. How to spoil the picture artist. So if no one wants to confess, I will find the culprit myself. I heard her walking around the classroom in the side of a classmate whom I set up for Gleb. Why is your button lying around the desk and what kind of buttons are on my table? The smile grew wider and wider. Yes, idiot, why is it not me, Irina Nikolaevna? My pack of buttons is full. Then show me a pack of buttons if you have nothing to be afraid of. Yes, of course, keep it interesting. When he picked up the box of buttons, he understood from weight that there are fewer of them, that he now feels his heart beating. The teacher took a package of them. They're practically not. It turned out, why did you do this, Gleb? This is funny. It's not me. You alone have buttons and you lied that you have a lot of them. The director is already alive. They quickly went to the door and I rushed to the doctor. When I ran and experienced adrenaline and high when I came. I pretended to the doctor that I had a headache and they gave me a pill. When I got to the class, the teacher was already there, and, director, I pretended that I was still feeling bad. The teacher looked at me with compassion. Everyone at the desks was very comfort was to look at the blackboard when no one's head was blocking the view. I volunteered to the blackboard with an innocent and solved the task with a painful look and got an A. The teacher praised me very much, and Gleb was expelled. After all this, for a whole week I had an amazing mood, but after a while, unfortunately, my mood became again fall, only now with even greater force. The holidays came and every day was worse than the other, and my mother left for a couple of days to relax. Dad tried to cheer me up all the days we went to the amusement park, to the movies, but all this is nonsense. I wanted something different. When my mother came home, I again had an idea that would satisfy me and make me happy. Mom, I need to tell you something. What happened, my joy? I can tell you this only in secret, but promise that you will not betray me. Well, daughter, I promise. When you were not with us, another aunt lived and Dad kissed her. You? I'm sure yes, Mommy. After that, my mother's mood dropped, but she didn't give me away. She just told Dad that he was no more loves and found another. I felt sorry for Dad. He didn't deserve it, but joy still prevailed, made me laugh when Dad yelled at Mom just like she went to some concert the next month was great, felt amazing, but unfortunately, all good things come to an end and the mood began to fall again. A little saved Mom's sad face, but this is already tired of insane boredom, decided to ride a bike, but this time I wanted to take a briefcase with me and put a good long knife there. I ride a bicycle. I felt only boredom and sadness, even nothing special. I didn't have any thoughts. Unexpectedly, I caught my eye again, that man from the bike. Without thinking, I followed him, so we rode. 2 hours after driving up to his house, he stopped abruptly and turned to me. Girl, what do you want from me? Think I don't see? Why are you following me? Uncle, forgive me. You are just so big and strong, and it's not at all scary to follow you. Me, too. I live in this house, but sometimes I'm scared to go into the entrance alone, but you can calmly come in with you this time. I won't bother you anymore. You could see how pleased he was with my laziness, how he was now able to refuse me. Blame the face, do it well. Let's go. About you, and where are your parents? At work. Going into the entrance, pretended that it was difficult for me. Lift the bike. Let me help you. Early to carry more weight. Thank you, Uncle. When he took and carried mine. A bicycle, I thought. This is the power to carry 2 bicycles up the stairs at once, but we don't care for him. A knife. I quickly unbuttoned her briefcase, took out a knife, stuck it in his back. He screamed and turned around. Then I understood. That's the end of the story, but my ingenuity works for me. Quickly I began to scream at the top of my lungs, help. He grabbed me when he heard children's voice. The tenants of the house left the apartment and saw how he was holding me. They stopped the man. Help me. This. My uncle carried me somewhere. Well, the knife was with me, which I wanted to give to my mother, and so maybe he would have killed me right away. They grabbed me, called the police and took me away. Immediately called my mother. When my mother arrived, immediately hugged me. Daughter, don't worry. Everything is fine already. I made a frightened look, but I thought to myself, now it's definitely good that an ambulance brigade was sent to me and psychologist. I made an innocent face. Yes, with my talent I need to think about the theater school. Psychologist told my mother that I'm a great fellow and I'm holding on well, that you can take me home. And then Dad came to cry and hug me. After a while, I found out that the man was imprisoned. How did I feel? Good again, only he hired the best lawyer. Oh, naive fools will only cheer me up, and the mood really was at its best. Warmed classmates up, expelled my mother's sad face. But most of all, I was glad that I was able to change someone else's life. But I'm all powerful. Suddenly there was a call at the door. Mom opened. Call your daughter. I went out into the corridor and one of the policemen said, you finished the game, girl. They put on me handcuffs and took away at the trial. The lawyer of that man demonstrated. Your school psychologist told my mother that I'm a great fellow and I'm holding on well, that you can take me home. And then Dad came to cry and hug me. After a while, I found out that the man was imprisoned. How did I feel? Good again, only he hired the best lawyer. Oh, naive fools will only cheer me up, and the mood really was at its best. Warmed up the thought of whose classmates expelled my mother's sad face. But most of all, I was glad that I was able to change someone else's life. But I'm all powerful. Suddenly there was a call at the door. Mom opened. Call your daughter. I went out into the corridor and one of the policemen said, you finished the game, girl. They put on me handcuffs and took away at the trial. The lawyer of that man demonstrated the recording where I attacked this man. Turned out that someone had a camera installed on the door. Yes, it's a shame it turned out. Then the parents talked among themselves, found out about my lie and abandoned me. Now I am on forced treatment. I pretend that it helps me, and it also turned out that there were maniacs in our family and it was inherited. In 5 years I will be released and I will definitely visit the lawyer who found the evidence against me. Before watching the video,